Let's go ahead and go over this real quickly so that way you guys can get on to your assignment for today. For problem number 1, when you have the number, a coefficient side by side with the variable, that is a multiplication problem. So what is the inverse to multiplication again, guys? Division. So we should be dividing both sides by 0.6. And when we do 1.92 divided by 0.6, we're going to get that x is equal to 3.2. 3.2 is our final answer for x. Okay, let me go ahead and zoom in onto these so that way it's easier to see. For problem number 2, it doesn't matter the fact that it has fractions in it, it's still the same concept. Because of the fact that it's x plus 3/4 is equal to 2/3, instead of adding, what is the inverse operation? Subtraction. So we are going to go ahead and subtract 3/4 from both sides. And what do we get when we do 2/3 minus 3/4? 1/6. You got, well, negative. Right? 2/3 minus 3/4. Okay, now let's go ahead and look what that would be like if you did it without the calculator. So if you had 2/3 minus 3/4, you have to have a common denominator. The common denominator here would be what? 12. So that means we're going to multiply the first fraction by 4 and the second fraction by 3. That's going to give you 8/12 minus 9/12. It's actually, so not 1/6, negative 1/12. It's going to be a negative 1/12. Okay? Make sure you're subtracting in the proper order, okay? Number 3. 3 is a two-step equation. What is the first inverse operation that we have to perform in this? Addition. Good. We have to add 8 to both sides. So we're going to go ahead and add 8 and add 8. These 8s are going to go ahead and get canceled out. We're then going to be left with 5x is equal to negative 10. Then we will divide both sides, right? Divide both sides by 5. And we're going to get that x is equal to negative 2. X is equal to negative 2. Okay, for problem number 4, what's the first inverse operation that we need to do? Subtraction. So we're going to subtract both sides by a 3. So that's going to leave us with x over 7 is now equal to a negative 8. And then our last step is to go ahead and multiply both sides by 7. And we're going to get x is equal to negative 56. Okay, these are the easy ones, guys. So the fact that some of you are still saying very, very quiet during that is a little concerning. Here's the more difficult stuff. Multi-step with variables on both sides. That's when you're going to need the sheet. You want to make sure that you're looking through the sheet and understanding what you're supposed to be doing. So the very first thing is to always look and see, do we have any distribution that needs to happen? So looking at this problem, is there any distribution? Yes, there is. We need to distribute this 2. This 2 needs to be distributed to the 3r and to the 2. So we're going to do 2 times 3r and 2 times 2. 2 times 3r is going to give us 6r. 2 times 2 is going to give us a positive 4. So we now have 6r plus 4 after distributing. I still need to bring everything else in my problem down. So I still have 5r minus 7 plus 5 is equal to now 6r plus 4 and then plus the 1. Okay, so we distributed. We did step 1. Now step 2, we need to combine like terms on the left side. So let's take a look. On the left side of my equation, do I have anything that can be combined together? Yes, what? Negative 7 and positive 5. Negative 7 and positive 5 can be combined together. What is negative 7 plus 5? Jair? Negative 2. So we're going to put negative 2, which now is going to act like a minus 2, because that 5r is going to come straight down. So it's now 5r minus 2 is equal to, all right, I did the left side. Now I need to look at the right side. Can I simplify the right side of my equation? So 6r plus 4 plus 1, can I combine anything here? Yeah, what? The 4 and the 1. The positive 4 and the positive 1 can get combined together. What's 4 plus 1? 5. Positive 5. So I'm going to put a plus 5. Because it's not just plus 5, it's 6r. That 6r has to come down. 6r plus 5. All right? Both sides are now simplified as far as they possibly can go. So now we're going to work on doing the inverse operations. Steps 1 and steps 2 were all the do portion. You do exactly as it tells you. Steps 3, 4, and 5 are now the undoing portion. So step 3, do we have variables on both sides of the equation? Yes. So if you have variables on both sides, move the smallest of the variables by adding or subtracting that entire variable term from both sides. You don't have to choose the smallest. I tell you to do it because it gives you a starting point so you don't have to think. Which one of these is the smallest? 5r. Are we going to add 5r or subtract 5r? Subtract. Because if I add, 5r plus 5r is just 10r. I didn't get rid of it. So we need to do the inverse, subtract. So I'm going to subtract 5r from both sides. And because it's a variable term, it has to be subtracted with another variable term. I can't just subtract it here because that's not a variable. Okay? So the 5r and the 5r, that's what's going to be happening now. What's going to get brought down on the left side? Negative 2. That minus sign now comes down like a negative sign. So it's a negative 2 is equal to, what's 6r minus 5r? 1r. Do I have to put the 1? No. I don't have to put a 1. Okay? So I could if I wanted to, but it's not necessarily. I can just put r. Okay? And then that plus 5 has to come down. So we now have negative 2 is equal to r plus 5. It's a one-step equation from here, guys. What do we do to solve? Subtract what? 5. We're going to subtract 5 from both sides of the equal sign. So subtract 5 from both sides. These 5s are going to get canceled out. R is now by itself. And it's going to equal what? What's negative 2 minus 5? Negative 7. So we get negative 7 is equal to r, or r is equal to negative 7. Okay? Step by step. You have to look at this sheet as you are learning. Eventually, it's going to get ingrained in your head. You're not going to need that sheet anymore. Okay? Take a look at the last one. Again, step by step. First step, distribute. Is there any distribution that can happen? Yes. We have this 4. It can get multiplied to the 3r, and it can get multiplied to the negative 1. I can't tell you how many times you guys mess up and don't realize that that's a negative when you look at it separately. This is a 3r. This is a negative 1. The sign that is in front will indicate whether it's positive or negative. Okay, so 4 times 3r is going to give us 12r. 4 times negative 1 is going to give us negative 4. So we now have 12r minus 4. We still have this plus 6, this minus 8r, and it's equal to 5r plus 4 minus r. So now let's go ahead and start combining like terms. Just focus on the left side first. What can I combine together? Jair? 12r and negative 8r. Good. So 12r and negative 8r. Thank you for Jair for saying the negative part. Okay, we need to rewrite those side by side. 12r minus the 8r is going to give us what? What is 12 minus 8? 4. So we've got 4r here. Still not simplified though. What else can we do? Alonzo?
Negative 4 and positive 6.
Negative 4 and positive 6. Negative 4 and positive 6 can be combined together. What is negative 4 plus 6 going to give us? 2. Positive 2. So I need to put a plus sign to indicate it's positive and a 2. So it is 4r plus 2. That's as simplified as that side's going to get. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to put my equals. Let's look at the other side. 5r plus 4 minus r. What can we do here? Jair? Very good. 5r and negative r. So if we do 5r minus r, what is that going to give us? 4r, right? Because that's not just an r, that's a 1r, right? We don't have to put the 1, but the 1 exists. So 5 minus 1 is going to give us 4, so we have 4r. That plus 4 has nothing to combine with it, so it's just going to come straight down as plus 4. All right. So we've simplified both sides. They're both simplified. Now we need to go ahead and focus on moving one variable to the other side. So which one is our smallest? Which one's smaller, 4r or 4r? Neither. So does it matter whether we subtract it on one side or the other? No, because they're both going to be the same. I'm going to subtract 4r from both sides, which means that they're both going to get canceled out completely, and we are left with a positive 2 saying that it's equal to a positive 4. Is that true? No, it is not equal, so I'm going to put a slash through it. What kind of solution creates an unbalanced equation? Aaliyah? No solution. Remember, when your variable gets completely eliminated and you're left with an unbalanced remainder, then that is no solution. If they are balanced, so let's say it was 2 equals 2 or 4 equals 4, what kind of solution is that? Infinite. Infinitely many or all reals. But this one is no solution. You need to be aware of your solution types. Okay? All right. That is it for our warm-up. You guys are going to go onto Google Classroom for your assignment.